Taxonomy. Taxonomy is the classification or naming of organisms like animals, plants, and fungi. You can think of it as the greatest filing system to ever exist. And it can get pretty confusing, so buckle up, because you might have to watch this twice. Where we're going to start is with all the different areas of classification. In descending order, they are domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Each of these takes organic materials and gets more and more specific as you go through the different levels. But let's just start at the easy part. First, we have domain. There are only 3 different categories inside a domain, and they are archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. Now I'm going to stop right here because we're probably familiar with the term bacteria. But what are archaea and eukarya? Archaea and bacteria are both known as prokaryotes, which have to do with their cells. And in their case, they don't have a nucleus, which means that their cell's genetic information is all kind of just flowing around within inside of their cell. But all you really have to know is that archaea and bacteria are similar, but they have significant differences. Then the eukarya are called eukaryotes, which means that they have a nucleus inside of their cell. And this is the first level of all the life that we see around us, which includes all plants and animals. Now let's delve into some of the more of the life that we can see, because I think it's probably a little bit more relevant than talking about bacteria the whole time. Under the next level of kingdom, there are 4 different paths that now we can take. They are protista, which are single-celled organisms, fungi, like the mushrooms, plantae, like plants, and animalia, like, you guessed it, animals. Now the way that these were all separated into each their own categories were how these different things looked and behaved. An easy example is to take some spinach and to take a deer. And in this case, you can probably tell that the 2 of them look a little bit different, which each of them get to go into their respective categories. Now when we start to get into the more specific classifications, it's going to take way too long to explain what each of them means. And just under the kingdom of Animalia, for animals, there are now 35 different ways that you can branch off into a more specific phylum. And it gets even crazier after that, with a grand total of 8.7 million different combinations for all the different known species that there are today. And that's not even where it ends, because it's going to continue on and on and on because new species are being discovered every single day. But now what you're probably wondering is who went out and classified 8.7 million different kinds of things? And the answer is nobody did. But it did start with a man named Linnaeus, who very kindly came up with this extremely organized system. Now the reason he did this was there was a very severe problem with the naming that was being used during his time, and that was called the polynomial system. Let me give you one pretty common example. Curothelium, Cyclus, Fossilis, Grammatilius, Umbrellius, Carambanius. Can you say that word? I don't think I can say that word. You try to say it. Chirophallium, Cycus, Follis, Grammaticilius, Umbrellis, Conabinius. What this actually meant was a kind of flower that only grows on rocks, has grass-like leaves, and arranges the flowers in a very specific kind of way. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't really like to go around and classify all life in that very strange, long Harry Potter name-like way. And it was often not universal, to where the same plant could be called completely different, really long names, but they're both talking about the exact same kind of plant. So the system that Linnaeus came up with was called binomial nomenclature, which involved saying only 2 names, which were the genus and the species of the thing that you were referring to. Now, to give you examples of this system that is still being used to this day, I'm going to talk about 2 different kinds of bears: water bears and polar bears. And we're going to start at the top of the classification and work our way right down. Now before I start, please excuse the Latin pronunciation. The water bears have a domain of eukarya, which stands for the nucleus inside of its cell. Then its kingdom is Animalia for its animal cells. Then the phylum is known as Tardigrada for an 8-legged segmented microanimal, which is a water bear. Then the class is eutardigrade, which means it's without lateral appendices, without tiny little arms. Then its order is Apocella, the family is Genera, the genus is Hypisbis, and the species is Dujardin. Now this means that this very specific kind of water bear is called a Hypisbis dujardin, which is much easier than saying a 7-long word, Harry Potter spell. Now let's go take a look at a polar bear. The domain is Eukarya, kingdom, Animalia, phylum is Chordata. Now is where it gets a little bit different from the water bears. This means that it's an animal that has a flexible rod supporting its backsides, like a spine for us or a bear, and in the fish's case it could be their bones going along their back like the ribs. Then its class is Mammalia, making it a mammal, which means that it is warm-blooded and it gives live birth, among other things. Then its order is Carnivora, which means that it eats exclusively meat as a carnivore. No vegetables for the polar bears. Then its family is Euceridae, which gives us now 8 different kinds of bears to choose from, which includes ones like the grizzly bear, the brown bear, and the polar bear are all among that 8-bear mix. Then its genus is Ursus, and finally its species is Maritimus, which means that this scientific name for a polar bear is Ursus maritimus. And that is all you probably need to know about taxonomy. Make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.